Hi, good evening. Hello, Mike. Before I get started, I would like to um, just give a big, huge thank you to you for your feedback and your time and energy put into this course this month. It was really helpful, super insightful. The videos were super great. I really needed them and relied on them a lot. And just your overall presence in the course this month was very wonderful and warm and extremely appreciated. So thank you so much for that. To get started, I will go ahead and jump into discussing what has been the most surprising thing that I've learned this month. And for me, that was definitely the manpower and time and just overall energy that goes into digital painting. I mean, I was not expecting to deal with so many different PBR channels, materials, brushes. And there's just so much that you could do with everything. The resources, the possibilities are endless, and I didn't realize how much it was going to take to really get that nice, clean, polished, finished look that really replicated, or not replicated, but represented your concept and what you were going for. It took a lot of time, it took a lot of effort, and a lot of playing around with substance. So I was really surprised, just how much goes into all of this in digital painting as a medium. But it was super exciting and super fun, and I'm really happy that I'm hitting the ground running with courses like these now, because these are definitely more my speed. But to move forward, I will go ahead and talk about my most difficult hurdle that I overcame this month. And I personally, I thought it was going to be time. I really did expect it to be time. Not that time wasn't a thing, because working full time and going to school full time, and then just having a lot of responsibility outside of both work and school. Time was definitely a thing for me, but it really no, it really wasn't that bad. My biggest hurdle was honestly just dealing with my own personal standard and personal expectations. With a lot of these projects, actually every single one of them, I approached them with the thought and an energy of, okay, here we go. We've got something to create. This is awesome. We're going to dive in. We're going to make something great, and it's going to be super fun. And it's just going to look so awesome, and it's going to be the best thing ever. That's how I literally approach every project. And the excitement just builds and builds, and it just bubbles throughout the entire time. And then I realize, wow, okay, I'm really not able to create what's in my head. I can't translate what's in my mind to the image that I'm seeing on my screen. And it took me a while to come to terms with that. It got a little discouraging at times, but I just had to reach that point where I understood that it's okay, it's fine. I just started digital art. I literally am like a month into this, so I just started. So it's gonna take some time and some knowledge and a lot of energy to get to a point where I can finally replicate what's in my mind and just like pull it out of my mind and throw it on my screen. So I had a really hard time with struggling with how I felt about final projects, just because my personal expectation and standard is set so high. So I have gotten better at that. I had to overcome that and face that head on. But I think with more time and knowledge and effort and dedication, I will get a little closer to those standards. So to move on, this is probably going to be my biggest talking point here. What am I most proud of out of my work this month? So before I even dive into that, I'm going to go ahead and explain my work a little bit here. I'm just going to talk about three pieces. The one I started with, the second assignment, and the third final assignment. So the first one is the one that's showing on my screen right now. We had a number of different weapons that we could choose from to texture and make pretty, basically, or not so pretty. We got to do whatever we wanted to do with it. And for mine, I decided to go for. I took everything into Photoshop and textured. I found these textures online, but then I added the highlights and whatnot. And the thought process was to go for like an elegant gore. I just really liked the color contrast between the gold foil of the handle and like the almost drywall plaster kind of look on the hammer, like the concrete-ish stone. And then red was a really nice complement to that. And then, the blood. So it's like an elegant gore type of feel. That's what I was going for. So the second project was our robot project. And this was super cool. My concept for this was just, I created a little love bug. I turned the bee into a nice little love bug. And the direction I took it was, this was my little robot here. And the robot comes into contact with the love bug. And as you can see, he's got these, these vein-looking things going through him. And this is basically what happens when he finds love. I have kind of a bitter outlook on love. I feel like pure, genuine, raw romance and love is kind of dead in today's society and culture. So that's kind of the direction I took it in. I created this facial expression in Photoshop, the little heart emblem on his backpack and on the bee. And yeah, so the concept was really just, he fell in love and he was so excited and happy. And then you can see his like material on the outside. He's kind of turning to stone. The texture of his helmet and his arm and everything, his body, it's turning into like a clay stone. You can see it's like kind of encasing him. And yeah, that concept was just, love hurts. It infects you and can give you like a heart of stone. So that's kind of the direction I was taking it in. And so that's what came of that project. And then this final project, so we had to go ahead and paint and texture this alien bust. My reference and inspiration was from the movie The Neverending Story. And when Atreyu is getting ready to cross and pass the two Sphinx statues on either side of him that have the laser eyes that go ahead and kill their victims that try to pass through. That it was just such an iconic scene from such an iconic movie. And so I wanted to turn my alien into one of those statues. So I pulled from the color. Where I feel this piece really shines is its texture. I spent a lot of time on the texture using different brushes and different tones. And then going back in with a paint tool and putting in little detail. So once turning her into the statue, I wanted to also age her, turn her into like an elderly statue, as weird as that sounds. And that was actually really hard because, you have this painterly type texture of concrete and stone and of earthly material, but then you also want to put in like wrinkles to replicate aging and signs of aging and things like that. So I wanted to kind of make her look elderly, and you can see that a lot better in the render view. I love how this looks in the render view. But the concept here was basically that a person is their genuine self from birth to death. that they're unchanging. Obviously, people change and they develop and they grow, but their true internal intent never changes, which I thought was really kind of fascinating, because to think that we're all just our own individual from birth to death is kind of mind blowing. But at the same time, it's a little melancholic and elegantly depressing and heavy, if you will, because these little marks that you see right here represent those who are trying to maybe change or mold her into a different direction, change her intent, change her purpose. And I made the color of the markings, I blended them in more closer to her chest and her heart, because as you get closer to the heart and soul of a person, you realize that you really can't change them and who they are. So these marks of people trying to go ahead and change her and mold her intent and her personality and true self, they're just she takes it and they just blend into her eventually, and she remains who she is. So she still has those piercing eyes and ready to go ahead and take down her next victim. So yeah, just that concept was really powerful to me, and I was really proud of this piece. So all of that being said, after all of these projects were kind of explained a little bit, that basically sums up what I am most proud of for my work this month. I am so proud of myself for the drive that I had with each project. Before this class, I hadn't really done much digital art. I was a pencil and paper portrait artist. And, portrait artists, we like to replicate things, creative outlets. There's not much creative freedom when you're really trying to replicate something and make it look exactly like the reference. So I didn't feel really that I had much of a creative drive or ability in me to create things with my own mind and my own, from scratch, basically. But I found that to be really untrue as I went through this course. I could not submit my projects unless I had some kind of creative concept and drive behind them. And I was so proud of that. And I think that each one of my pieces really encompassed and it really encased my concepts as a whole. And I'm just really proud of that because I didn't know I had that in me. So it was really refreshing and a very big moment for me to realize and recognize. So to wrap up this video, just my goals for moving forward with future classes. I guess the big overall goal for me, I would love to have a position someday working for Riot Games in their character creation department. I would love to be a character artist for Riot Games. I adore their characters, especially in League of Legends. The artwork is just beautiful and stunning, and it's whimsical, and it's just, I would love so much to be a part of that. I know how difficult that is, and I know that's a far stretch of a goal, but I will keep working at it. As for immediate goals with how I wish to, or what I wish to accomplish in future classes, I really hope to improve upon really solidifying my online footprint and creating that online portfolio and that online presence, really. I'm kind of old school at heart, so I don't like social media. Not a fan, but I do know the weight that it carries in this industry. So I really hope to improve upon that, and I guess just making connections and networking and communicating with people in art. It doesn't have to be character design. It could be environmental design or VFX or, whatever it is. I just want to communicate with others and really get to make some good connections and some good lifelong friends through this. So that would definitely be my immediate and long term goals. So, with that being said, I will wrap up this video. I apologize for the length of this. But again, before I go, just thank you so much, Mike, for your presence and energy this month. It's been wonderful. I really do look forward to having class with you again. Hopefully, I will in the future. And yeah, I'm gonna keep at it and keep going. And hopefully, I will see you in future classes soon. So thank you so much.